Hello friends, in this video I will be talking on the most famous and most ancient way of manufacturing the component, and it is well known as casting. So in short, the casting is nothing but the manufacturing process by which we can manufacture or produce the components or the parts from the raw material. So here when we are talking about the casting in today's video, we will be talking about the components which are more specifically manufactured or made from the metals like steel, aluminum, cast iron, copper, brass, etc. So let's talk in more detail. So here in this picture you can see few components are there, and you can see the sizes varies from the tiny component to some medium sized component, and all these components are more specifically manufactured by the casting manufacturing process. So let's see one more. So you may be familiar with this component, and this is nothing but the 8-cylinder V engine block, and which is also manufactured by the casting. So you can have an idea that how versatile this manufacturing process is, by means of which we can manufacture the components of a tiny size to a huge size. So when we want to manufacture the component having some intricate shapes in it, like here you can see this is quite intricate. Here this section of the engine block, if you will see, it is quite intricate in a shape, complex in a shape. So if we want to manufacture the components which are having a complex geometry, then we mostly prefer casting as a manufacturing process. So what are the today's learning outcomes? In today's video we will be talking on the types of the casting. You will know what are the different types of the castings are, and then more specifically we will be talking on sand casting. So as I said, the types of the casting. So in a few seconds before I already told you that we will be talking on the metal casting, where the parts are manufactured from raw material which is nothing but a metal. So metal casting is divided into two main categories, and depending upon the kind of a mold we use. By the way, what is the mold, that we will discuss in next slides. So expandable mold casting and permanent mold casting, these are the two main basic types of the metal casting. Further, both these two types gets classified into many more types, such as expandable mold casting is classified as sand casting, shell mold casting, vacuum mold casting, expanded polystyrene mold casting, investment casting, plaster mold casting, ceramic mold casting. So all these are the categories or the types of expandable mold casting, and all these are the types are on the basis of the mold material. What are the different mold materials that we will be see in next video, not in this video, because in this video we will be talking only about the sand casting in detail. Next is the permanent mold casting, gets classified into the die casting and the centrifugal casting. So all these are the types of the casting, and as I said, we will be talking on sand casting hereafter more in more detail. So here you can so here you can see this is the I'm sorry. So as I said, we will be talking in more detail regarding the casting, sand casting. So here you can see this is called as mold, and this is made of sand, and this is the component obtained by using the sand casting manufacturing process. So this is the mold, and in a mold is nothing but the cavity. So here you can see a cavity is there. So we used to pour the molten metal inside this cavity, you can have an idea, and then after solidification that molten metal will take the shape of this cavity. So this is what we are going to learn in next few slides, that how to make this cavity, right? So what are the steps involved in sand casting, and this is what we are going to discuss in next slides. So before that, let's see what are the different tools required in sand casting. Mold box. So mold box is nothing but a box which is made up of wood, or maybe it is made up of metal, within which we pour or we fill this mold box with molding sand. So molding sands gets classified into two types, like not two types actually, many more types, but two main popular types are the green sand and the dry sand. So green sand is very typical in sand casting manufacture. It is a simple and easy to make, a mixture of sand, clay and the water. This is what are the main constituent of green sand. The term green refers to the fact that the mold will contain moisture during the pouring of the casting. And in dry sand, these dry sands are baked in an oven at around 300 to 650 degrees Fahrenheit for around 8 to 48 hours. It depends on the size of the mold. Then prior to the sand casting operation, in order to dry the mold, we bake it in an oven. This drying strengthens the mold and hardens its internal surfaces. The dry sand molds are manufactured using organic binders rather than the clay binders. So here let's talk a little more about the sand. So the main constituents of molding sand involve silica sand, binder, moisture content as we have in a grain sand, and additives. Silica sand in form of granular quartz is the main constituent of molding sand, having enough refractoriness. So refractoriness is nothing but the ability to withstand under a high temperature. So we are pouring a molten metal into the mold, and this mold will be made up of the sand. So this sand should withstand under such a high temperature of molten metal. So silica sand have enough refractoriness which can impart strength, stability and permeability to molding and core sand. Then binder can be either inorganic or organic substance. Binder include in the inorganic group are clay, sodium silicate and Portland cement, etc. The amount of moisture content in the molding sand varies from 2 to 8%. This amount is added to the mixture of clay and silica sand for developing bonds. This is the amount of water required to fill the pores between the particles of clay without separating them. This amount of water is held rigidly by the clay and is mainly responsible for developing the strength in the sand. And additives are the materials generally added to the molding and core sand mixture to develop some special property in the sand. Some commonly used additives for enhancing the properties of mold and core sands are coal dust, corn flour, dextrine, sea coal, wood flour, silica flour, etc. So this is all about the molding sand which we use to manufacture the or to make the mold. So this is how we fill this mold box with the help of molding sand, and then we use a pattern. So what is the pattern? Pattern is nothing but the replica of the product which we want to manufacture. So this is one kind of a pattern, which is a split pattern, which is divided into two half, this upper half and this is lower half. So this is kind of a symmetric pattern. So patterns are generally made up of the wood, or they may be made up of metal as well, but wood is a cheaper one. So most common material for pattern making is wood. So this is the pattern of a same object, but this is called as faceplate pattern. Let's see now what are the different steps involved in sand casting process. So you can see in this picture we have mold box over here which is completely filled with the sand, and this one and this one, these two are the patterns which are having a shape of the main object, main component or main part which we want to manufacture. And then this one is the rod around which we are going to pour some more sand, and after that we will remove this rod. So you can imagine, once we remove this rod, what remain over here is kind of a hole, and we will use that hole as a passage for pouring the molten metal. This is how it will look like. So when you will remove this rod, then here what is left is the hole, and here you can see the mold box is divided into two half. You can see here, this is the lower half, this one is upper half, and this is what you can see, this is the upper half, this one is lower half, and the hole is in both upper and the lower half of the mold box. So more specifically, the upper half of the mold box, this one is called as cope, and the lower half is called as drag of the mold box. Now once you remove these patterns, then what remain over here is a cavity. So after pouring the molten metal through this hole, it has to get distributed into this cavity. So we want to create some passages so that this molten metal can flow into this cavity. So here you can see, so we have made it over here. So these are the passages with the help of which the molten metal will take the place of this cavity. So after keeping this cope over the drag, we ram the sand perfectly, and we only have the two openings. One is for pouring the molten metal, and one is to extract the fumes and the air, so that air should not get trapped within this cavity. So if it gets trapped within the cavity, then the metal cannot take the place of that air, and after solidification we have the pores, which is very undesirable thing in the casting, which reduces the strength of the object. So here we are pouring the molten metal. You can see here we are pouring the molten metal, and through the other hole the molten metal gets rise. So it's an indication that this cavity is completely filled with the metal. Plus during solidification the metal gets shrink, so the level of this molten metal gets reduced, and to avoid this shrinkage we can pour the excess molten metal through this another opening, right? So we call that as the riser. This another hole is called as a riser, through which the molten metal comes out, gives an indication of the cavity is filled, completely filled with the molten metal. So after solidification we take out the component. So here you can see this is an extended portion of the uh, pouring basin. So this is nothing but the metal which was remained in the hole which we made for pouring the molten metal. So this is undesirable, so later on we are going to trim it, we are going to cut it, and finally we will get these components which are required one. So this is what we have seen in actual picture. Now let's see in the 2D diagram, which is kind of a sectional view. So this is the lower half of the mold box known as drag. This one is the pattern. So around this pattern we will pour the sand. We will cover this whole wooden pattern with the sand. So here you can see it. We will press the sand, we will ram the sand, and after that we'll make this downside up and we will remove the pattern. And then this is what we have is the cavity, and this curved section is nothing but the passage for flowing the molten metal into the cavity. Now what we have here is the upper mold box known as the cope, where we have create the two channels. One is for pouring the molten metal and another one is to take away the air and the hot fumes or any other impurities through this riser section. So this is known as a riser. So before placing this before placing the scope over the drag, we use the powder so that this scope scope will not get stick over this drag, because after solidification when it's time to remove this, then we can remove this scope from the drag very easily. So through this pouring basin we pour the molten metal, then this molten metal will flow through this vertical channel. This vertical channel is called as the sprue. Then it will flow through this horizontal channel which is called as the runner. By the way, I forgot to talk about this core. So the core is nothing but the thing which we place in a mold box before pouring a molten metal. This core is also made up of the same material as that of the mold material. Here it is a sand. So we place a core. You can imagine that when we have a core over here which is cylindrical in shape right now, and when you pour the molten metal from the pouring basin, the molten metal will take the place of this cavity except the portion of the core. What does it mean? After solidification, when you break the core, what remains here is the hollow space. So generally core is used for making the hollow spaces like the holes, cavities, and the core is made up of the sand. So this is what the steps involved in the casting that we have seen in real also as well as in this sectional views also. So in all, if you want to prepare a diagram of a sand casting, then you can prepare this diagram only instead of making the number of diagrams which tells you the steps involved in casting, which is very time consuming. So you can draw this kind of a diagram whenever you want to explain the sand casting, or when you want to write down an answer of sand casting in exam. In that case you can draw this kind of a diagram where you have to show the upper half of the mold box named as cope, the lower half is named as drag, then these mold boxes are filled with the sand which is green sand over here, then we have the cavity within which we place core so that this molten metal will not take the place of this region, and at the end we will have this as a hollow region, hollow space. Then this is called as the runner or the sprue, and then this one is called as the riser, and this one is known as the basin. So this is what all about the sand casting. So we'll talk about many more manufacturing process in next video. Till then, I'm Manoj Sanone signing off. Bye bye.